Welcome to Unsuitable on Ray Radio, the award-winning financial services and business advisory podcast that challenges your old-school business practices and the traditional business suit culture. Our guests are industry professionals and experts who will challenge you to think beyond the suit and tie while offering you meaningful modern solutions to help you enhance your company's growth. I'm your host, Dave Kane.
As we embark on the 2019 tax season, the state of Ohio is set to become a case study in the area of using Bitcoin to settle your business's tax bill. Here to talk us through what this change means for businesses throughout the state and how one would actually go about making a tax payment with cryptocurrency is Melane Howell, CPA, a regional expert with Ray & Associates in the area of cryptocurrency. Welcome back to Unsuitable, Melane.
Hey, Dave.
You know, the last time, you've been a frequent guest, the last time that you were on Unsuitable as a guest, I remember two things. One Bitcoin was trading at about $6,000.
Yeah.
And your favorite game of choice was Twister. So, I think things have changed since then. Bitcoin is down in the 3,000 range, but probably Twister's still the game of choice. So let's say,
Thanks for bringing that up. Nice reminder.
Yeah. Now, is that game a weekend game, or how's that?
Usually,
okay.
it's the weekend game, and then during the week we play Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head.
Okay,
yeah.
All right, little operation in between there, Uno. Boy,
it can happen.
You got to be a lot of fun hanging out with.
Yeah. No Candyland.
So let's talk about this breaking Bitcoin news. In Ohio, we'll be accepting Bitcoin payments for business taxes. And it's the first state that we're aware of in the good old U.S. to follow this rule and allow this. So What's going on?
So the politicians were super excited about being on the forefront of technology. So they really pushed this through. There were a few other states that were trying to, obviously, this race to be the first, but Ohio won. So maybe it's, we were a little bit behind on some other issues that recently passed. And so, so we got this with the Bitcoin. Currently, it's only for businesses. So individuals aren't here yet in order to pay their tax. But businesses can pay 23 different types of taxes through ohiocrypto.com.
Okay, we're gonna break that down a little bit, but let's go back. The Ohio Society of CPAs worked very closely with the state of Ohio on various tax issues and making Ohio a very business-friendly state. And I think this is one of those areas where Ohio is out in front, being a business-friendly state.
Certainly. Some people have been complaining about the drop in the market with Bitcoin, and we can talk about that a little bit later. But this makes it valuable, right? This lends itself to some value. The fact that maybe the market's not doing that great, but it does have some value in that you can pay your tax with it, right? Who doesn't like that?
Right. Before we go any further, we have a birthday to celebrate. It's Bitcoin's birthday.
It is. Bitcoin is 10.
10. Bitcoin has been around
the double
for
digit.
10 years.
10 years. Who would have thunk it?
That's hard to believe.
I know. We going to sing happy birthday?
No,
we're just going to toast our bush lights.
I don't think so. But so Bitcoin, which is one form of many types of cryptocurrency, can be used with the state of Ohio to pay your taxes. And I think you mentioned it could be 23 taxes. 23 different types of taxes?
Correct. So take, for instance, you could pay your sales tax with Bitcoin. You could pay your withholding tax with Bitcoin. You could pay your PAT, which is like petroleum tax, or your commercial activity tax with Bitcoin. On their website, it's ohiocrypto.com. They are using BitPay to handle its payments. It's a U.S.-based company out of Georgia. And it's for payments only, meaning if you make a mistake or you need a refund or something, they're only taking payments. They are not issuing refunds yet with Bitcoin.
What surprised me, what caught me on that stat was there are 23 different types of business taxes? Now, to me, that sounds, that just caught me off guard. I'm sure I could count those up, but that's a lot of taxes.
That's
a
is,
lot
if
of
you're going to
different types
quiz
of
me
taxes.
on all of them,
No, that wasn't
I may
intended.
not be able to run down
Hey,
the
we
list.
just talked
but-
about Ohio needing to be a business-friendly state,
Right.
and all of a sudden we have 23 different types of taxes. That's
Oh,
pretty incredible.
right. So did
That's
that,
a different podcast.
Right. Does that
That's a different podcast.
somewhat contradicts each other?
Yeah.
It could. Yeah.
So
absolutely.
my understanding is that the state of Ohio will hold that, if they receive your Bitcoin, my understanding is the state of Ohio will hold that Bitcoin for about 1 second or 1 nanosecond, that they're not interested in holding the Bitcoin, investing the Bitcoin, and playing the float.
No, and I don't know too much on that forefront, but that's my understanding as well, is that they're not interested in holding it for investment. They're just using it mainly to receive payments.
Yeah,
and
just payment.
Right, and there's a lot of other merchants, meaning I think we're going to see other states obviously getting into this as well, possibly next year, the year after. And there's going to be a lot more merchants that accept not only Bitcoin, but other types of cryptocurrency. So Starbucks was slated to accept a cryptocurrency in this past November. Because of the demand and some other changes, that's since been pushed to February of 2019, but it's coming.
Okay. I want to tease it a little bit. We'll talk at the end here about what the IRS is doing on some Bitcoin and crypto transactions, so we'll tease that a bit. But is it, again, a total novice in this area? I don't own Bitcoin. You own Bitcoin.
I do.
So I guess that makes you an expert.
Well, I don't know about that,
Yeah.
but it it
That
keeps
thing
me
dropped in about
interested.
50%.
I know.
Yeah.
I was sweating it there for a little bit, but think about it like this. So let's say one of your local grocery stores is having a half off sale. What do? Like it's having a half off on, I don't know,
Like on
tomato
pudding?
sauce
On
or
pudding?
bread or pudding.
Pudding?
You're going to buy some, right? So maybe it's the time to buy.
It might be. It's yes. Total investment.
Right. So it might be the time to get in. Obviously, the Bitcoin has proven that its value model works, right? And major merchants are now accepting it. So I think it's message
acceptable.
is right.
Yeah.
It's here to
Yeah.
stay. But with some other things going on in the economy and such, obviously it's doing some regulation. So meaning its value and the market share is obviously fluctuating a bit. And I, from what I'm reading, and again, I'm not the expert in that certain area, but it's here to stay. As far as if it drops any further, I don't know. I mean, from what I read, and from what I have been reading in the last few weeks, it sounds like it may drop even more before it kind of levels out or goes up.
Yeah,
so just don't know.
Like I mentioned in the intro when you were last on, it was trading one Bitcoin at 6K plus. I don't know. And,
Oh, right. It's like
and at
yeah.
the end of 2018, it was down in the low threes, and
Yep.
it's risen some, but the volatility seems to continue.
Right, and some of the, they're looking at, so what are the reasons that it dropped? Some of it is that obviously it's being used a little bit more, but there's also some threat of regulation. And so maybe it's the fact that people are a little bit scared, right? Because of they think, oh, it's going to come in, somebody's going to come in and regulate it.
Right.
There's been some cases where some initial coin offerings have not been handled properly, and so the government has kind of come out and brought the smackdown on some individuals, yes, that are that were involved in that.
And let's be honest about it too. The IRS. There's a lot of noise and publication about how the IRS is going to monitor cryptocurrency transactions.
Right. Yeah. So there's still. Obviously, it's due to the nature of cryptocurrency. It is somewhat, it tends to be anonymous. Not that it has to be, meaning I have someone else that I frequently speak with that actually speaks to the fact that it's not anonymous just because blocks on the blockchain. If you know how to do your research, you can figure out where that transaction happened. But that's beyond me, right? So I think your novice user, it is somewhat anonymous. However, there's also some theory that you can only process a certain number of blocks in a certain amount of time, like per second, and that's a leap, right? So there's so much activity within the market that that they're concerned that the computing power may not be enough to properly process the demand all at one time. So again, lots going on there. I think that there's some issues with electricity usage in some areas, with computing power taking down power grids and all that. So again, there's challenges in the landscape of all of this. That's for sure.
And I was thinking, maybe the fad has passed, but as we mentioned, Bitcoin is 10 years old, so it's not a fad. It's just maybe getting a little bit more play in the last several months, with some miners getting involved with it, and maybe somebody thinking about making some money, and maybe that's passing.
That could. I know, we have a small hobbyist here in our office that was a miner for a bit, and he told me he's unplugged those just because they
went
weren't
unplugged.
Yeah,
huh?
they weren't making any money.
New definition of unplugged.
Yeah, and they have somewhat become obsolete. So again, they're just moving so fast.
It'll come back.
That the technology, is
It'll come back.
Is rapidly.
So the state of
advancing.
Ohio accepting Bitcoin as a form of currency to pay tax and liability, I think that's a very positive statement in a way, that hey, if you feel comfortable paying your tax that way, there's other goods and services, and it's already started. I think maybe other stuff being purchased through Bitcoin is on the rise.
And then think about that too, like on the opposite end, the IRS, because it is somewhat anonymous, the IRS is wondering who these individuals are that actually have Bitcoin. Well, if you're paying your tax with Bitcoin, you're obviously pretty comfortable, probably, with crypto, and you may have other crypto. So it may be even that is a way to, this sounds bad, but maybe a way for them to at least be aware of who you are and kind of if you have crypto or not. That's not to say it's not for the novice user. I've been on the website. It's certainly easy.
Is it?
You don't have to be a previous crypto investor or even know how it works in order to pay your tax with cryptocurrency, or with Bitcoin currently. That's the only type they're taking. But it's nice that they're obviously going in that direction. They're looking to the future. I know that Cleveland obviously has this thing, if you want some homework, it's called Blockland, and they're looking to create a little tech community itself up in that area, and are really focusing on blockchain technology and then resulting crypto.
Well, let's get into the good stuff, and again, the taxability of these transactions. I think as we begin to find out that, the IRS is making inquiries on the Bitcoin, they actually had some rulings or clarification on how cryptocurrency would be treated on your tax return. It is not a tax-free transaction. Is that correct?
That's correct, right. So I know that in 2017, if you had some gains, I think there was some suggestion that you could use the like-kind exchange rules for that. While the like-kind exchange rules went away in 2018 for anything, with the exception of for everything but real estate, even in 2017, if you wanted to do a like-kind exchange for crypto, I think the theory behind that is that while we may think of all crypto as being like or the same as one another, it's really not. And so To be conservative, we obviously are recommending that the like-kind exchange rules not be used for
not
any
be used,
gains.
and it won't be going forward as
Right.
well. But again, every time there's a Bitcoin or crypto transaction, it is a taxable event,
It is.
and could be a gain,
Could be a gain, could be a loss.
could be a loss,
Right.
and it's
then
ordinary.
Well, it depends, right? So if you're just using it as an investment and you've held it for over a year, then it would be a long-term capital loss,
okay.
subject to
Some limitations,
the
etc.
the limitations. You can net them with your other gains, but then if your loss cannot, your taxable loss that you take on your return cannot exceed $3,000, and then you carry the rest forward, just like you would with any other stock loss. If you have an ordinary gain or an ordinary loss, right? So, and this gets a little bit more complicated and probably outside of this conversation, but if you earn cryptocurrency in the course of, let's say, I mean, somebody can pay you as far as like wages or anything with crypto, that you would get that, and it's subject to the same W-2 reporting requirements,
Sure. Yeah.
right? And then let's say you go out and you sell it, and at a loss, if you have not held it for a year, then obviously it would be treated as an ordinary loss.
Right.
So,
Right. Well, you've been running around at least the Columbus market, giving presentations and discussions and speeches on cryptocurrency. You've become quite a expert in the field in Central Ohio.
I don't know about that.
Well,
I try, but
yeah.
we have a little road show going.
Got a little road show?
It's been pretty nice. Yeah. Yep.
Well, so to the listeners in our podcast community, if they need a speaker, give us a buzz, and we'll put you in touch with Melane. Very informative presentation. But what your presentation does, I think, is give the listeners a sense of, it's okay, a sense of security. It's okay. It's becoming more the norm than it was before.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm excited that Ohio is the first to do this. Right? So sometimes
I think it's kind of cool too.
I know. Sometimes we think of it as like, oh, it's going to be like New
Yeah.
York or California, and yet here we are, it's Ohio.
Yeah.
And so it's pretty exciting in a kind of geeky kind of way.
It is, yeah. And again, we talked about this earlier. I want to make sure I've got this right, because I don't have a lot of facts on that, which is not unnormal for Unsuitable. We just kind of let it rip sometimes. But, the state of Ohio is not holding cryptocurrency at all. They're moving it on as soon as they receive it. There's no... They're not holding it as an investment.
So I don't know the exact answer to that. Do you?
Yeah, I don't think so. They're not.
They're not investing.
They're not investing.
So I'm assuming. Here's the thing. Here's what I thought. Or here's what I
Look,
heard.
I know more about this than you.
I know you might.
Can I be on the road show?
Yes,
with you?
you could. Yes.
Yeah, we'd have a.
You bring the beer.
Yeah, all right.
Here's my thought is that they may be invested in it, in that I have heard a lot about how, banks, they don't like cryptocurrency, but they're all invested in it. Meaning the state of Ohio probably would be smart to be invested in it. Are they using the exact crypto that you use to pay your tax in order to then turn around and invest in it? I don't know.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be surprised if they were invested in it in some level, just separate from this.
Yeah, and I think we got to stay tuned on that, because
Right.
we'll see. But my understanding is they would move that crypto on very quickly,
Right.
and because of the volatility. Let's talk about the volatility again. That's kind of beyond the scope here, but beyond our expertise. But my goodness, we touched it. It went from over 6K for one Bitcoin to half of that, 50% drop in market.
Right.
And I don't know about that.
I know.
That's
It's a little scary.
it is a little scary.
Yeah, I know.
Why would I do that? I mean, why would I Think about that.
Why would you buy low
I'd buy
to then
low
maybe
now.
some,
I
right?
wouldn't buy at 6K like you bought at 6K.
I know. Yeah.
It's
pretty ugly.
But now, maybe at 3K, what the heck?
Thanks, Dave, for rubbing that in.
Well, it was either that or Twister.
I know.
And you didn't want to talk about Twister.
I'm in this for the long haul, so hopefully,
Okay.
just like, they say with your stocks, get in it, stay in it. Long term, hopefully you'll do all right.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hoping for.
As you're running around the state speaking on this, what are you hearing as far as what people are buying with cryptocurrency? There's stories out there. I mean, what else could we buy?
So you can buy something on Overstock. You can buy a car on Craigslist. You can spend it on Expedia. Microsoft takes crypto.
Amazon yet?
Amazon does not that I know of. Subway does.
Subway?
Yes. Go out and buy a sandwich.
And I thought I saw Starbucks was going to get, or maybe you told me that.
Yes,
Of course, you tell me a lot of things.
Yeah, I know.
I take it with a grain of salt sometimes. But Subway. So the purchases, the opportunities to purchase more stuff, if you will.
Right.
Can I convert that to just straight cash? Hey, I need some cash for the weekend. I'm going to the Bitcoin or the crypto ATM. I'm going to convert it to cash.
So with the crypto ATM, I have not used those as of yet. We do have someone here, another associate.
Let's use the crypto?
Oh yeah,
All
no,
right.
he's
Let's
went
get
to the,
him on.
He's went to the,
Fixer, get
the
him. Go
Bitcoin
get him.
ATM, and he's pulled out Bitcoin. I mean, he's purchased Bitcoin, and then obviously stuck the little code in his pocket.
Is that his cold wallet?
To use it.
That's his cold wallet.
That's his cold storage, right? Because it's
Yeah.
in his, right.
Yeah.
A hot wallet would be like on your, see, you know what you're talking about. And so he's done that. Whether you can actually put your crypto in and then an ATM spit cash back out at you, I don't know.
Okay, we'll find that out.
I was going to say, I don't know. I have to do some research over the weekend.
Good. Our guest today has been Melane Howell with Ray & Associates, the in-house expert, if you will, on cryptocurrency, and discussing with us how to pay your business's tax bill with Bitcoin. It's a bit tricky, but as we've kind of tested it out, it's doable. And if you need any information, give us a call. We can put you in touch with Melane and get that transaction going for you. Thanks again for joining us, Melane.
Thank you.
Very informative. Curious to find out how many businesses will take advantage of this option. Listeners, are you considering paying your tax bill with Bitcoin this year? Hey, let us know. We'd love to hear from you. You can email us at raycpa.com to let us know if you plan on taking advantage of this payment option. And if you enjoyed today's episode, and I'm sure you did, let us know. Like it, comment on it, or share it with your colleagues. And don't forget to check out videos of our podcast on YouTube. Until next time, I'm Dave Kane, encouraging you to loosen up your tie and think outside the box.